सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयम् मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सताम् वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्। श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तक्षणात् शुश्रूषुभिस्तक्षणात्। पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। Fortunate are those who get the opportunity to drink the Amrita, nectarine flow of Bhagavata. Fortunate are those who can think and dwell on the Leela of the Lord. Bhagavatam is the most universally accepted bhakti text, or instead of calling it a text, we should actually call it a bhakti experience. Sadyo hridyavarudyate kritivihi. Sadyaha, the moment with open heart, when we listen to it, it brings in that devotion immensely. That is the effect of this Bhagavata. In this Bhagavatam, we have seen earlier 7 cantos, 7 skanda. In the earlier skanda, we were talking about the vasanas. Asura vasana, Daiva vasana, and about us people, Mishra vasana. You don't ask me who is Mishra ji now. Mishra vasana is a mixture of Daiva Asura vasana. Daiva vasana is depicted by Prahlada. That name itself, Ahlada, which gives us joy to think of that little kid, devotee. Prakarshena ahladayati, the one who gives us such immense happiness. His presence is the one which brings in happiness, because he is endowed with a lot of Daiva Sampatti or Daiva Vasana. Whereas who is Hiranyakashipu? He is the one who is the embodiment of Asura Sampatti or Asura Vasana. Hiranya, gold, anything that glitters, anything that shines, anything that reflects a shine. And the one who is attracted to it so much that he wants to hold everything that glitters, Kashyapu. The one who wants to hold everything that glitters, and through that wants to find the immortal bliss. Such one is Hiranyakashipu with Daiva Sampatti, Asura Sampatti. He has lot of knowledge, but the knowledge is not backed with Guna Sampatti. So knowledge without Guna is always detrimental. For such people, probably they have said ignorance is bliss. But knowledge without, that's what probably in English also they half-baked knowledge. They have knowledge, but they are not backed with Guna. So they become Asura. The Shakti that he had to use for, and look at his blessings. He was blessed by Brahmaji for such a long period of life, with which all his Shakti he could have used for serving others. But then he used all his Shakti to bring in pain, misery to others. And then when somebody that he cared for was in pain, he would use his philosophy then. But he would never use his knowledge for his own upliftment. If the 7th canto was talking about the vasanas, different kinds of traits that we find in human beings, how do we remove these traits? How do we cross over this vasanakshaya? Vasanas are the impressions. As we indulge, as we interact with these vasanas out into the world, as we bring them out, the stronger and stronger they become. Hence, therefore, Mahatmas always have suggested, all the great rishis have suggested, that flush your mind out with all these kinds of negative vasanas, replace them with the vasana of the Lord. Do not fight with the existing vasanas. Do not try to suppress them. Just flush them out with the vasana of the Lord. Constantly increase the Rama vasana to remove the Kama vasana. But then, as a Mahatma really puts it very beautifully, Dongre Maharaji, he says, Punyasya phalam icchanti Punyam na kurvanti manavaha. Punyasya phalam icchanti. Like for example, everybody when they talk of their own children to be born, they will say, I wish my kid was a Vivekananda. I wish my kid was a Krishna. I wish my kids were like, all great names that you could think of. Punyasya phalam icchanti. But for that, as a couple, what do you have to do? Have you done that? So we can take and multiply these examples into multiple folds. So instead of having the punya vasana, we keep entertaining our minds with constant kama vasana. And this kama vasana is such a deceitful vasana that the more you indulge, it seemingly gives a little bit of happiness, lures you into more of kama vasana, but does not eradicate the kama vasana in itself. So as long as the kama vasana is not removed, we remain in a restless state of agitation. Constant. If we have to believe in Darwin's theory that somewhere down in the past generations we lost our tail, but we didn't lose the other habits of a monkey. That restlessness which you find in a monkey still continues. Either we are too tamasic or we are too rajasic. Not at peace with ourselves so that we can pursue this particular goal. In fact, the Manava Janma is given for the sole purpose of mukti. Nothing else matters. What about our worldly pursuit, worldly goals? Bhaad mein jaye. The only thing that is required as a Manava, as a human being, what is required is that pursuit for which the Lord has given us this birth. Nothing but Atma Ichha. As Adi Shankaracharya ji puts it in his Sadhana Panchakam, Atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagrihat turnam vinirgamyatam. Atmecha vyavasiyatam, that vasana has to be inculcated. As we have made it a practice to do certain things in a certain pattern in our life, if we could practice that for years and years and years, we could practice anything, make it a practice. So bring in this vasana of the Lord, and very rare few get this opportunity to hear about the Lord. Make it a consistent thing in through your lives. This is just a platform to jump. It is to jumpstart these kinds of satsang platforms are to jumpstart the system. But it should not be that you jumpstart here and again, right, waiting for another jumpstart. And people also say, Swamiji, we come to satsang, it kind of rejuvenates the battery, recharges the battery. We are waiting for another opportunity to recharge our batteries. If there is no consistent effort in taking that name of that Lord, we may be thinking of coming to a satsang, but after that if there is no manana, nididhyasana and nama shravana, nama sankirtana, probably we are there where we are. And it is that jadatva that when we have to cross over, we pray unto that great masters. Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Chakshuhu unmilana. Chakshurunmilana meaning opening the eyes. How are we? Punyasya phalam icchanti. We want that brightness in our life, but we refuse to open our eyes and say everything is dark. Why am I surrounded with darkness? Why is it that everything around me is so dark? Aankhein to kholo. We don't want to open our eyes. We are stuck with closing our eyes. So unless we open Ajnana, Timira, Andhakara. He is given 3 examples there. Ajnana, ignorance. Timira, darkness. Timira is ignorance again. Ajnana, Timira, Andhakara, Ghora, darkness around. And what does it take? It just takes one light of knowledge, which is ignited by the Guru. And how is that wick constantly maintained? When you pour the Namasmarana oil in it, when you pour that constant sadhana oil in it, that brightly lights our life. So with this in our background, with this understanding in our background, that satsangatve nissangatvam, The satsanga vasana, the nama vasana, the sankirtana vasana has to be increased constantly. Now Parikshita had only 7 days left. Probably if you and I were there in that place, we would have been running here and there, as they say it, headless chicken, not knowing direction, not knowing where to go, what to do. He did the best thing. He says it is inevitable. Weeping on it, weeping on that issue is not something that is going to change my life. So he said prayopavesha. I said 7 days I am going to make use of it in such a beautiful way that I am going to think only of the Lord. And unless we make that a practice of satsanga wherein we keep hearing about the Lord again and again and again and again, it does not get into this dense mind to form that habit. That with everything that we do, the name of the Lord has to go along with it. Now let me ask you one thing. Back in India, did you have the habit of, when we interact, when people talk, they talk with such ease. You find these words like, oh my gosh, such words, that cliches that keep repeated. When you were born with those words? That they have become such a practice of yours that with every second sentence you keep saying those words? When that can become a practice, why not taking the name of the Lord? Take the name of the Lord. And there is a beautiful bhajan that Swami Shivananda Maharaj used to sing, which was continued by his Sishya, Swami Chidananda Maharaj. He used to say, उठते भी राम कहो, बैठते भी राम कहो, खाते भी राम कहो, सोते भी राम कहो, दिन में भी राम कहो, रात में भी राम कहो, कहीं संग में, कहीं रंग में, कहीं भंग में, जो भी करो राम में ही रमते रहो. That is a kind of vasana that has to be inculcated. So through this 8th canto, to answer Parikshit's query, Shukdev ji takes us through 3 beautiful episodes through these 24 chapters, and all hinting upon removing the Asura Vasana, increasing the Daiva Vasana, and how that Vasana of the name of the Lord can be further established in firmness, that it is never to be shaken again. So the first episode is of Gajendra. One of the most delightful chapters is Gajendra Moksha. And if you read the other works on Gajendra Moksha, you are just like, wonder. You just stop there. It just pauses. The second one is Kshira Sagara Mathana. And the third episode is of Bali Chakravarti's Charita, or you can call it Vaman Avatar. But somehow this one Avatara, we remember more about Bali than of Vamana. And that is the greatness of that devotee called Bali. And the Lord himself says that I am more closer to someone when they think of my devotee's Charita than my own Charita. So that is proven by Bali Chakravarti. So these are the 3 main episodes that we are taken through. So in the beginning, how does this all start? He starts when Parikshit questions, Hey Guru, meaning Hey Shukacharya, So you should be very careful. Shukacharya, Shukracharya, not much of a difference in pronunciation. One is a great Advaita Siddhi, a great master, and the other one is also a great guru, but of the Asuras. So here he is praying to his own guru, who is Shukacharya. Hey Shukdev Ji Maharaj, you know, I think it was in the 5th and 6th canto that we had covered little bit of this Swayambhu Manu. There are 14 Manus, and in one of the Manus that you were talking about, Priyavrata and Uttanapada, and their sons were Dhruva, and he had 2 wives, Suniti and Suruchi, and he was, you know, we had gone through that Dhruva Charita. But after that we kind of, you know, missed out on the other Swayambhu Manus. Can we go over that particular Leelas of Swayambhu Manu? Because in every Manvantara, every Manu's time period, the Lord takes birth. The Saptarishis have their own stories. So can you go through the completion of those Manu Charita? So as Rishi Uvacha, the Rishi says that these Swayambhus, which are 14 of them, the Manus are 14 of them. The Manu, the first one of them, when he was given the job of procreating into this world, creating various forms into this world, the first thing that he did was lot of tapascharya. See, when they had given a task, every task was backed up with lot of strength through tapascharya. So this Swayambhu Manu took permission from his wife, Shatarupa. He said, before we start procreating this world, let me go seek the blessings of the Lord and then start. That is why in all their charita you will find that the Lord himself takes birth. Whereas we only keep punyasya phalam icchanti, punyam na kuruvanti manavaha. Whereas they did that karya, tapascharya. Sunandayam varshashatam padai ekena bhuvam sprushan tapyamanas tato ghoram idaman vaha bharata. Manu, on the banks of Sunanda river, was standing on eka padena, ekena padena. He was standing on one foot, bhuvam sprushan, and he was contemplating on the meaning of the mantras of Upanishads. Iti mantropanishadam vyaharantam samahitam drishtva surayatu dhana. Mantra Upanishadam, the Upanishadic mantra, he was constantly thinking about. What was the Upanishadic mantra? This comes in the 9th and 10th shloka of the 8th canto, 1st chapter. He says, Atma vasyamidam vishvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma grada kasya svidhanam. This is what he was contemplating upon. Can you tell me which mantra, which Upanishad that mantra comes from? Areva, I am glad at least there is one answer. My day is done. In Ishavasya Upanishad, this mantra comes as Ishavasyamidagam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma grada kasya siddhanam. But here it comes as Atmavasyamidagam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. It is that glow of that Supreme which is reflecting here as this consciousness, which is spread, expanding and expressing as this multiplicity in this universe. Various forms that you can see is nothing but that Supreme Lord alone. Atma vasyam idam sarvam vishvam. Everything, syutam, it has been pervaded with that Supreme Consciousness alone. There is nothing other than that Supreme Consciousness that exists. Anything that you can find as existing is nothing but that Supreme alone. So he says, Yatkincha jagatyam jagat, anything in this world is nothing but that Supreme. So if everything is Supreme, can I really say that I own this world? I own this entire kingdom, I own this. It is nothing but the Lord's. Been provided for me, which I can use for serving others. Whatever has been provided to us, through us it has to reach out to people so that, or any creature for that matter, so that we can serve the entire universe. Now why should we serve? Because in the attitude of service, whom are you serving? Every Sunday we stand. Put your right hand on the right heart, wherever your heart is. And what do we chant there? Serving the nation or country is the service to the Lord of Lords, and devotion to the people is a devotion to the Supreme Self. So when we take that oath, reminding ourselves every single time, every single Sunday that we meet, what does it actually mean? That every single person, every single individual, every single creature that we meet along is nothing but that Supreme, and when I offer my services, it is more my necessity to serve because I am serving my Lord. Tena tyaktena, it is that Lord's expansion that He has given out these things, tyaktena. So when we look at this world and indulge with it or interact with it with the attitude that this is nothing but the Lord's. See, at home, when something falls down, when you're eating, you just brush it aside and throw it in the dustbin. But in the temple, when some prasad is given to you in hand, and some of it falls down, even that is picked up and so that you can get the complete benefit of that prasada which has come into your hand. Not even a tiny bit is gone wasted. Right? Now if we can expand that kind of a buddhi to every single interaction, that I interact with everything with that same attitude as if it is the prasada of the Lord. Whatever comes into life, I accept it as a prasad of the Lord and move forward. And with that accepting attitude, it only uplifts us as an individual closer to God. So it says, Ma gridhaha kasya svidhanam. Gridhaha, gridha is the vulture. What does this vulture do? It raises high in the sky. But where are its eyes? Always on dead carcass. He says, here Manu beautifully puts it, he says, we are mostly like that. We have been given the highest form of human being. But where are our eyes? On dead things, which really acquiring them means nothing. And we feel pride in that. That reminds me, Back in India, every street corner does have a big trash can, a dumpster. But somehow, people, that is what probably reflects into the Indian cricket team also. Their aim is not onto the wickets. Instead of getting into the dumpster, it is all around that dumpster. On the flip side, it provides livelihood for plenty. I'm more of a little exercise freak, so I used to jog there also. So I had found out streets wherein there are no dogs, street dogs. सवेरे सवेरे लेने के देने पड़ जाते हैं. You don't know where there are street dogs and they start chasing you. You had it. So one day I had gone for a jog, came back. While coming back, early morning, around 5:45, 6 o'clock. This was in Vijayawada. I found near that dumpster, there were these two fellows who, rag pickers, they both were fighting. And what was their fight about? It seems these dumpsters are distributed among themselves. ये मेरा इलाका है. This whole thing, this area is mine. How dare you even step into my locality? Back off. And the other fellow, तेरा नाम लिखा है क्या? Is your name written down, or has the government given you the thing that it is going to be only yours? All that they do is pick on the rags, pick on the plastic, bottles, glass. That's what they pick, or the iron filings and iron stuff, they pick and sell. So when you look at them, it looks very pathetic when you look at their lives. All that they are doing is picking on dumpsters, and over that they have their own association and they have their own grip as to how many dumpsters each one holds. And probably they have a boss who is looking over as to who gets how many dumpsters. They have an insurance policy. I don't know, just expanding on that theme. And then on that, what they are picking, they have a fight. So when you look at that example closely, change the dumpster, change those kids picking on those dumpsters. What we do is also the same kind. Swamiji, how can you be so mean? No, I am not being mean. That is what it is said here. Ma gradaha. We focus on such unnecessary trivial stuff. And such trivial stuff becomes so important. Starting from who wears what kind of places they sit and eat, what kind of people they interact. That becomes our interesting points to note in the world when we interact. From that level to any level, we keep picking on unnecessary trash. It's like each one of us goes out into the world and picks on others' dirt. Do you have a picture of those rag pickers in India? They have those huge bags, bori jaise rehta hai, and they have a little danda, they keep picking and then they keep putting everything in there. We are also like that. We go out into the world with the mind open, the tongue out there protruding. Where do I find the next interesting thing? Pick, throw it inside. Ma gradaha, you have been given the human birth. For what? the sole purpose of knowing that Supreme who is residing within. Nothing else matters. Kasyasvit dhanam. Whose wealth is it? It is the Lord's. Lord has two wives. Lord Narayana has two wives. One is called Chanchala, the other one is called Achala. Achala is Dhara Devi. She doesn't move anywhere. Chanchala is Lakshmi Devi. So when you interact with this world, you can only be a son for that mother. You cannot be a boss of that mother. That is how this Prakriti is. The moment we want to aggrandize, the moment we want to hoard more and more, we have lots and lots and lots of janmas to go. In fact, there is nothing wrong if you pick. You can go pick. Whenever it is time, that is when it will reveal. At such stage, when you hold them and try to teach, it doesn't sink in. Our own experiences have to transform us. Now, as this Manu was sitting there, trying to meditate on this beautiful mantra and thinking of the Lord, there were so many asuras who had started plundering into many of these cities and villages. And they did not even spare that Manu was standing and doing his tapascharya. They wanted to disturb him and destroy him too. So looking at these people coming in, Manu thought that if that be so, let it be. If they come to destroy, let it be. But I am not going to go out of focus. I am going to meditate only on this. And then the Lord comes as the Yajna Purusha to protect that Manu. And in such Manus, I mean, there is a description of which Manu, who's the son, and the details go on. The end of this particular first chapter, they say that there was in the Manvantara of Tamasa a great Manu, and in his tenure there was this Rishi who was named Harimedha, and his wife, her name was Harini, and to them was born this Sri Hari. And our Shukadev Ji Maharaj says to Parikshita, "Hey Parikshita, this Sri Hari was the one who gave Gajendra his moksha by saving him and protecting him from the Makara, the crocodile." So now Parikshit's eyes widen up. It's the same thing like, when you are hearing this Bhagavatam, you are hearing one Manu had, this many sons and they have this many sons and they did this. It's like, kya farak padta hai? Fine, these many names. Where do I remember all these names? Probably Parikshit was also like that. Yes, got the point. So what? The moment he heard about this Gajendra, he said, wait. That is the story that I want to hear now. You should have started this tale kind of with that thing. Why did you waste this much into this Manvantara? Thus being questioned and asked by Parikshit with so much of inquisitiveness and interest, Sutaji says that Badarayani, the son of Badarayana. Badarayana, who is Badarayana? Vyasa Maharaj. What was his complete name? SKDB Vyas. Shri Krishna Dvaipayana Badarayana Vyas. SKDB Vyas. Do you know what was Krishna's name? SKV Vyas, SKV Yadav. Sri Krishna Vasudeva Yadav. That was his complete name. So when they say Badarayana, Badarayani, son of Badarayana Vyasa. Because he had done, Vyasaji had done lot of tapasya in Badrikashrama, so he acquired this name Badarayani. So this Shukacharya was very much like, touched by with the kind of force Parikshita had asked this question. So Shukadevji starts immediately with that story. So what is that story? That comes in the second chapter. Asid girivaro rajan trikuta iti vishrutaha kshirodena shriman. This is Trikuta iti vishrutaha girivaraha. There was this beautiful mountain range called Trikuta. Kuta, three peaks. And in those mountain ranges there were these three huge peaks. One was with the splendor of gold, the other one with the silver, and the third one with lot of iron. And in between these three, there was a huge expanse of forest, and this entire mountain was as though covered by all sides with the samudra. And this mountain range had smaller peaks which were like, God had tried to create some beautiful resort, and he created this Trikutanchala. So probably what he must have done, in his glass he must have filled all the gems, emeralds, rubies in each glass, and he must have poured them. And then he took out, they were the mountain ranges. When you go to the Himalayas, that is how it appears. There are so many different ranges of these mountains, each one in a different color, different shade. Like, you take the kids to the ocean, and on the banks, on the seashores, they sit and start doing those different shapes and sizes. The Lord also had his own playtime. His Play-Doh was this earth, and he created this beautiful resort kind of a thing. And there was this beautiful Sarovara, a beautiful lake. The surrounding of these lakes, the mountain ranges, the smaller mountain ranges, were all filled with this emerald. And when the sun would shine through those emeralds, reflecting green color, it had such a turquoise blue with that greenish shade that the entire lake would look splendid, reflecting the greenery flora into that lake. That was the beautiful, pristine kind of an environment wherein Gandharva, Yaksha, Kinnara, Kimpurusha would come and have their pleasure bath, spa. They would come there and enjoy in that pond, having their krida. They would have a lot of fun games, like the Schlitterbahn. Probably they had fun games around there. So in that particular place, Tatra, in that place, there were many animals. Of these animals, there was this Gajendra Asit. First 20 shlokas go into detailed description of this particular Parvata as to how many Khanija, what kind of minerals, what kind of gems, what kind of things were available in that particular island, and what kind of trees, what kind of plantation was there. And it is like around 60-70 plant names are given here. I mean, if you want to really go into your own mind and dwell into that picture's beauty, all those details are given here. Probably some of them even you can't translate them into English. So a beautiful description is given. In that, there was this Gajendra Asit. There was this Gajendra. Gajanam Indraha, the king of the elephants. He was so massive. There is this description. Yad Gandhamatra Harayo Gajendraha Vyagradayo Vyalamrugaha Sakhagaha. With the smell of this Gajendra anywhere in the vicinity, all terrible predators, animals, would be scared and would run away from that place. That was the kind of strength that this Gajendra had. And he had lived in that forest for a long, long time. So he had a huge extended family. Not a small little family, but a huge extended family. He had a lot of wives. And he had a lot of small little elephants, baby elephants. And along with that, there were others who were there just because they would feel protected and secured in his presence. Friends and family. Even that friends and family was extended friends and family. That he had thousands of these elephants in his troop. And he was the only king. Such a king, seeing whom even the tigers, Vyaghra and Simha, the lions, would be afraid, scared to get in front of him. That was his kind of power. So one beautiful day, they all were going from one part of the forest to the other. And they had come to the side of this particular little pond, which was described earlier. And that pond, how did they find? They were all very thirsty. It was summertime, they were all very thirsty. And in their thirst, what did they do? They sent their sensory signals. Gajendra took his trunk out and smelled the environment. So he smelled this beautiful Aruna Kamala. Aruna Kamala, those kind of lotuses which blossom in the presence of sun. They're pinkish reddish color. So he smelt this beautiful smell of this Kamala. So I said, okay, I smell this from this side. So probably his GPS said that there is this water resource must be in this direction. So the entire troop landed into that lake. And that beauty in that place was so powerful that all of them got in. First they drank lots and lots and lots of water and refreshed themselves by taking a shower. And as a grahastha, what does this Gajendra do? One by one, child was pulled in. Normally, the description that is given here is so beautiful and funny little. Is that these little baby elephants were running away from the water, didn't want to take shower. So he pulled each one of them and showered them with his trunk, giving them a thorough bath. And those who came in didn't want to leave. They wanted to enjoy in that lake, playing around their father. As they were playing, as fate would have it, this elephant Gajendra was so intoxicated in the joy with his family, friends and children, and that normally these elephants are pretty observant. Any danger lurking around, they can immediately sense it. In fact, when you go around in a thick wooded area, if you observe these animals, especially the squirrels, and at least I have found that whenever they make a lot of high alarmed noises, there is some kind of a predator there. And most of the time we found, when we were walking in the wooded areas, that there were snakes around there. So they very easily can sense. In fact, even in the last, what was it? Big wave, tsunami. So that tsunami wave, they say that in those islands, all these animals sensed hours before and ran to a highest place that they could find shelter in. So very sensitive. Somehow he was so intoxicated with all this fun going around that he forgot that there was this crocodile fast approaching. And what this crocodile do? It was irritated with all these thousands and thousands of elephants coming in and disturbing its peace. And comes inside, catches hold of this Gajendra. Foot is caught. When Kala, time is one thing that is so beautifully described even in Bhagavad Gita, in 11th chapter. So how is Kala described? Time is described as with such a huge mouth, devouring anything that comes in front of him. Everything is consumed in Kala. Rich, poor, educated, non-educated, realized, non-realized. Everybody is consumed by that Kala. Like that Kala, like that time, Mahapralaya was this Makara to this Gajendra. See, both of them are powerful in their own places. The Gajendra did not have the opportunity to say, छोड़ मेरे गली में दिखा दूंगा. Because this Makara, the crocodile, is very powerful in waters, whereas the elephants are very powerful in land. So as soon as it was caught, it was being pulled into the lake. So immediate, all these friends and those people who were there, I've heard this funny story narration of a Kathakara, which is not there here, but you can take some imagination here and there. So this Kathakara says that this elephant started singing, Sati Hath Badana. Ek akela thak jaye to. That poor fellow was being, how much can he pull, keep pulling? So these big elephants, the bigger of them, started holding the other three legs, the trunk, tail, whichever they could hold on to. And each one of them were again held by another 20, 30 elephants, each one of these elephants. And all of them put effort to pull this elephant out of that waters. And they were feeling so sorry that they were being dragged into, but that Gajendra was not released from the clutches of the Makara. So they said, yeah, we tried. We tried our best. His own family. Rest is your prarabdha. Some of those friends had already gotten scared and ran away. That if this could happen to Gajendra, there is no protection to us. So let me protect myself first. And they ran away. The immediate family, his own family members, they were around the lake witnessing all this in shock, not being able to help that Gajendra. And they say this kind of tussle between Gajendra went on for lot of time. Lots of time passed away. Finally, this Gajendra understood. This Gajendra understood and gave in. He said, I have lost my last strength. No more strength left. So he says, this Triti Adhyaya, the third chapter, is the most famous Gajendra Moksha. This Gajendra, in his earlier birth, was a great king, devotee. He belonged to the Pandya dynasty. And because of a curse, he had become this Gajendra. But in that utmost despair kind of a situation, when thinking of the Lord, all his past life smriti came back. And that powerful must have been his tapasya as a king before he got his shapa. That when he really thought of the Lord in middle of that severe situation that he was in, all those upasanas and stotras that he had been chanting came back to him. So with that smriti, this Gajendra starts his chanting. These 28 shlokas, they say, there are many masters who have confirmed this, that when you chant this Gajendra Moksha, these 28 shlokas daily, no apatti will trouble, in a sense, disturb that person. And you will have that mental stamina and strength to face any situation in life. And there have been cases, there have been instances wherein they have had even the darshan of the Lord. So this Gajendra Stuti is one of the Siddha mantras of this Bhagavatam. So Gajendra Uvacha, Gajendra starts. Om Namo Bhagavate Tasmai Yataye Tacchidatmakam Purushaya Adibijaya Pareshaya Bhidhimahi Aham Dhimahi. Lovingly I think of that Lord and meditate on that Lord. Who is that? Om Namo Bhagavate, O dear Lord, you are the cause for all this which is with life, with prana, Chidatmakam. Purushaya Adibijaya. You are the Karana, you are the source for this entire creation. To such Supreme, who is the support, who is the cause for this entire creation, I prostrate. And in his pain, growing out of his pain, starts out this beautiful stuti. One of the shlokas that I would start immediately and then go back to the entire stuti is the 25th shloka, wherein he says, Jiji Vishe na aham iha amuya kim. He says, Jiji Vishe na aham. I am not doing this stuti in order to save my life, in order to be protected by you so that I can survive. I am doing this stuti so that I can get rid of this entire Kala Bandha, to get beyond the limitation of time and space. This pain is for the elephant body. I don't know if I miss this opportunity, how many such stupid bodies that I have to keep taking. Hence, it is not a cry in getting rid of this particular pain. I want to get rid of any pain that could be caused because of my own stupid identification. Now, with this intent, when he starts praying, he says, Yasvatma svatmanidam nijamayayarpitam kvachit vibhatam kvachatat tirohitam avidhruk sakshubhayam tadikshate sa atma mulo avatumam parat paraha kalena panchatvamitesu kritsnashah लोकेषु पालेषु च सर्वहेतुषु तमस्तदासीद् गहनं गभीरं यस्तस्य पारेऽभिविराजते विभुः. He says, O Lord, you are the one who always existed, exists and will be existing. Whether there was a creation or the absence of creation, you, the consciousness, has always been there. The creations are like bubbles which erupt and diffuse. And you watch them, sakshi ubhayam. You watch them as a sakshi, as a witness. Kalena panchatvam iteshu. When you say panchatvam gataha, this word means that the thing is dead. The thing is done. Panchatvam, the 5 elements, go back to their nascent form. That is called panchatvam gataha. Panchatvam iteshu kalena lokeshu lokapaleshu sarvahetishu. All these worlds, the world keepers, all these, head of different departments, Vayu, Indra, Varuna, Agni, all these various demigods and their powers, their little worlds, they all merge back into you. But you have always been there witnessing all these things, unshakable by these changes. He says, Na yasya deva rishayah padam viduhu jantuh punam korhati gantumiritum yatha natasya kritibhir vicheshtatah duratyayanu samam avatu. O Supreme God, Mam avatu, you are the only one that I seek refuge in, protect me. Na yasya deva rishayah padam viduhu. Great devas and the great rishis are still searching for you, the great supreme. I don't know, me, a jantu, a little animal in birth, how much strength or intellectual power I have to even think about you. But I know this, that you are the one, natasya akritibihi vicheshtatah. Like in a multiple character for a single person in a drama. You also come into this world with every single character in this world. You are the only one who have changed your outside akritihi. To that consciousness within every single being, I invoke, please protect me. Didrukshavo yasya padam sumangalam vimukta sangha munayo susadhavaha charanti lokavrata varnam vane bhutatma bhuta suhridasame gatihi. Didruksha yasya padam sumangalam vimukta sanghaha munayaha susadhavaha charanti lokavratam avranam vane. Seeking you, that supreme, vimukta sanghaha, those who have right wisdom. Right wisdom is not in how much money that you can earn, how much name and fame that you can earn, how many people that you can influence, but the right wisdom is to find that Lord before our time consumes us. This is such a beautiful concept which even Bhartruhari picks up in his Vairagya Shataka. He says that pada, that supreme abode of that Lord, if not focused upon to know in this very life, we think we are passing the time. Why? Because life has become mechanical, life has become a bore. So what do? बैठे बैठे थक गए, करना था कुछ काम. And what do? Time pass कर रहे. And I love this, they have understood the human psychology before they start their salesmanship. In Bombay trains, suburban trains, local trains, when they sell this shengdana or those peanuts or chana, what do they? They don't just sell it as please buy peanuts. Okay, time pass mungphali. The way they tell, they said, you are anyway sitting there doing nothing. Pass your time eating this. Why your time just passes away while you are focusing on this? They are tasty enough to while away your time. Our mungphalis are different. Our peanuts are different. But what we are trying to do in acquiring all this is we think we are passing time. But it is the time which finally consumes us. So, Vimukta Sangaha, those who have understood this, the wise ones, have started searching for you, and in their search, Munayaha Susadhavaha, great sadhus, great muni, Charanti Loka Vratam Avranam. They have taken lot of vratas, unshakable, undeterred by any kind of overwhelming situation in their life. They have focused on getting you, the essence of their life. Such suhridaha same gatihi, such a beloved friend that I invoke in you, O Lord. And then he continues, Na vidyate yasya cha janma karma va, na nama rupe guna dosha eva va, tathapi lokapyaya sambhavaya yaha, swamayaya tanyanu mricchati. Na vidyate yasya janma karma va. O Lord, you don't have a janma or karma. You don't have nama, rupa, guna, dosha. Or you don't have either nama and rupa. How can there be any guna or dosha? You are the subtlest of the subtle. And the most wonderful thing is, though you don't have janma and karma, understanding the beauty and divinity behind your janma and karma releases from all this bondage. How can this be possible? This is this Gajendra, though looks like a dense elephant, but has said a very beautiful thing in this shloka. What is the secret, what is the tattva in understanding janma and karma of the Lord? In fact, I think it was just this Sunday we concluded with this particular shloka. Janma karma cha me divyam yevam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma nayeti mam eti sorjuna. Janma, karma, both are divine, and the essence has to be understood, and the essence has been revealed by Gajendra. What is he saying? Na yasya vidyate janma karma va. You are neither born nor you have any activity. That which is always existing cannot cease to not exist. It is always there. But what does he do? Swamayaya is as though with his illusory power of Maya, he spins this world as though it comes into existence. But what exists is you, that Lord, whom I am invoking in my heart. Who are you? He says, Tasmai namah pareshaya brahmane ananta shaktaye arupayo rurupaya nama ascharya karmane. You are the ascharya karmani. You know, what is his name? David. No, David Copperfield. The one who is doing magic tricks on the streets. Blaine. Blaine? David Blaine. Good. So he does all these magic tricks that he binds himself and then throws himself into a box, and the box is thrown into the river. And suddenly you find that person somewhere else saying, I am fine here. Wow, Ascharya Karmani. And there are those in those shows wherein they have these tigers which fly. यहीं पे लास वेगस में होता है उनका शो. Wow, such a beautiful one. Ascharya Karmani. That is the most Ascharya Karmani. You are Arupa, but yet you are there behind every Rupa. You don't have a form of your own, you don't have a guna of your own, but with every guna, with every Rupa, all that exists is you alone. And that is called Ascharya Karmani. To that Pareshaya, not Pareshani, Pareshaya, Isha, Para Isha, the Supreme Lord. Ananta Shakti, you have immense strength. To such one, I invoke in my heart. Nama Atma Pradipaya Sakshine Paramatmane Namo Giram Viduraya Manasascetasamaphi Satvena Pratilabhyaya Naishkarmyena Vipaschita Namah Kaivalyanathaya Nirvana Sukha Samvide. Nama Atma Pradipaya Sakshine Paramatmane. Atma Pradipaya, the one who is the self which is illumining everything, the one who is the witness, such Paramatma, Giram Viduraya, Manasaha Chetasamapi. It is both mind and intellect, the one which is illumining. Such unshakable one, because mind and intellect are shakeable, they are quite wobbly. The one which is unshakable, the one which is constant, such the consciousness I am invoking. Naishkarmya Vipaschita Satvena Pratilabhyaya. Here, Sattva doesn't mean, Satvena doesn't mean Sattva Guna. Sattva means Antahkarana, the pure Antahkarana. If you go back to Tattva Bodha, it is described in Tattva Bodha that the Antahkarana is made of the most sattvic nature. The Antahkarana, which is Mana, Buddhi, Chitta and Ahankara, this is made of the most sattvic element. Now it is like sattvic is most pure element. Then if the Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, they are so pure, where did this impurity come from? Is it that I am somebody who is created by the Lord, produced by the Lord, which has to be called back because of there some defect? Because if they claim that there is the Mana, Buddhi, Chitta which is of sattvic nature, I don't find mine sattvic nature. That is where I keep normally giving this example. You have the most fashionable bag. What do you call them? Gucci, Versace. What do you call those bags? Designer bags. That's what I was searching for. Those designer bags. Pata nahi kitna, but they say it's very costly. So somebody gifted you one. You didn't have to go through the pain of buying it. Somebody gifted you one. It's one of those, I still remember the first time I read Versace, the kids around me were laughing. I read it as Versace. We are SACE, coming from India, what do you read it as? If it has to be Versace, V-A-R-S-A-C-H-I. Verses. So you get such bag. And in that bag, just because it is such a designer made and it is such a beautiful bag, does the beauty of the bag remain because it is designer made, or with the contents that you take in that bag? The bag is Uttama variety, but the contents in the bag are of the Neecha variety. May not be Neecha when you put them in, but over a period of time they have become such. Like a simple example that you can take is, after some puja somewhere, you got prasada, 2 bananas, you put it in that bag and forgot. What happened to that bag? Ram Naam. Have you ever had that experience of banana stinking? Especially in your car, when you have put it there and bananas smell good, but when the bananas go bananas, it is not a good smell. And is it that the bag? No, it is the content that is carried in the bag which is impure. So Sattvena, reaching to that pure level of the essential stuff of your mind. How? Naishkarmyena vipaschita. Naishkarmyena. Actions have to be performed. We cannot be jada buddhi by not performing actions. But while you perform the actions, understand very clearly, bold letters, big font, red letters, in parenthesis, starred in your head. What does Naishkarmya mean? Actions do not yield happiness anywhere, but yet have to be performed so that the existing impressions can be washed out when you offer them on a selfless attitude to a higher altar. I'll repeat the entire statement again. Actions do not yield happiness. Stop searching for happiness through actions. It is not available there. But entire life you can be stupid. It doesn't matter. But in spite of your own actions, if you cannot find that the actions cannot yield happiness, even the Shastras cannot help. Then why do we have to perform these actions? So that we can clear out all the kama vasana, which we were talking in the beginning of this particular satsang. With that Naishkarmya Siddhi, Nirvana Sukha Samvidehi, once I clear out my heart with all these tendencies and impressions, I reach to that sattvic nature within, wherein I am not disturbed by the happenings outside. I am not disturbed by the contents of the mind inside. And I am completely restful within. Such a sattvic state, where you, O Lord, reflect as the most beloved supreme consciousness within, such consciousness I pray unto. Gajendra must have done a lot of upasana in his earlier life to have such a clarity in spite of being a Gajendra animal. Or look at it the other way. We compare like between our children, between their friends. When they can do it, why can't you do it? there was this father trying to tell his son, son, at your age, Abraham Lincoln was putting in at least 17, 18 hours of a day under the street lights too, to study. The son was well informed. He said, Dad, at your age, he was a president. Stop complaining, Dad. So coming back here, Nirvana Sukha Samvide. Bhaiya, you are that consciousness within. And if an animal could pray this, if we have heard through this, we as human beings, so-called the cream of this creation, should at least understand that that is the only purpose of life. That our priorities have to be changed. And he goes on saying, and this particular shloka is the most beautiful one. I just laughed after reading this particular shloka. Because the way he prays to that Lord is, Namah Shantaya Ghoraya Mudhaya Gunadharmine Nirvisheshaya Samyaya Namo Jnana Ghanaya Cha. Shantaya, the one who is, at peace. Ghoraya, terrible. And Mudhaya, foolish. Namaha, I worship unto you. I worship unto you who is at peace. I worship unto you who are terrible. I worship unto you who are stupid. क्या भगवान को गाली देता है? But the point there is that consciousness which reflects through the three gunas. From the sattvic guna, when that consciousness reflects, it acts out as peace, shanta guna. From the rajasic nature, when it reflects as ghora, terrible, restless. From the tamoguna, when it reflects, it is mudha, stupid. It is to that consciousness which reflects through these gunas as these various modifications that I am worshipping, and not the modifications. What a beautiful shloka. Now apply it internally. Namah Shantaya. You are at peace with yourself. In comes your spouse and children. Ghoraya. And there was this husband who says to his wife, honey, I am feeling very sleepy. I have to go to the office. वहां जाके सोने के लिए जाता हूं मैं. So the wife said, क्या हुआ, कल सत्संग में नींद नहीं आया था क्या? So the wife asked her husband, did you not sleep well in the satsang yesterday, that you have to cover it up in your office? That is called mudhaya. So our own gunas, when we look at it, we have swings. Let the mind swing. Watch the mind swing. Don't swing along with the mind. That consciousness, which is Jnana Ghanaya, which is the embodiment of knowledge, which is the embodiment of illumination, that source within I worship unto. Kshetrajnaya namastubhyam sarvadhyakshaya sakshine purushayatma mulaya Moola Prakritaye Namaha. I worship unto that Kshetrajna. It is not just this consciousness which is the core within, but it is that consciousness which I see everywhere that I worship unto. That is the ripening of a sadhaka. When you have seated firmly in your state within, you start seeing that very state out there. Since now we are at the stage wherein we are constantly tossed by our own mind, our own body requirements, our own intellect, our own kama, krodha, lobha, moha, what we see around and tune into is that state alone. It's a simple example, when your mood is okay, is really good, and you come out into this world, the world looks so beautiful. Areva! Wow! What a beautiful world! Something happens and you are suddenly that switch automatically turns off. What is beautiful? Where is beauty? Nothing beautiful in this world. As your mood swings change, the same world appears different. Imagine if you firmly seat in that consciousness within, what you see outside. According to Narayana Suktam, that is what is displayed very beautifully there in that mantra. Antar bahisya tat sarvam vyapya narayana sthitaha. All that which is seated in that consciousness is nothing but that Supreme. All that which is outside is nothing but that Supreme. When you are seated in here in that Supreme, you can see that Supreme all over. This is called Jnana Marga. When you invoke that Supreme in everybody and serve, the core that you reach in is that Supreme. That is called Bhakti Marga. I invoke my beloved Lord in everybody and I serve them all. Hence the core that I reach inside is that Supreme. Is that beloved my Lord that I see reflecting in my heart. There is not much of a difference between Jnana and Bhakti. Only the methods are different. One goes out to in, one starts in to out. That is the only difference. But the net result is, all that which you come into interaction is nothing but that Supreme alone. Meaning, when you reach to that stage, that a paper with a print, you call God and prostrate. And a paper without print, you have the same attitude to prostrate. A flower that is in front of the Lord, and put it on your head. A flower in the garden with the same respect, the same attitude that it is that divine there. That is called understanding the Kshetrajna everywhere. And this Gajendra Moksha, Gajendra Stuti, and he takes it to the next level of his worship, of his Stuti, which he says he will take after a break tomorrow. He will continue with this Gajendra Stuti tomorrow, and tomorrow it is a totally different beauty that he brings in, the way he changes his Stuti. That we will see tomorrow. I mean, this Stuti I could have done the same way as we have done with the others. I could have given a very abridged format, but it's such a beautiful meditative Stuti. I said it is worth spending that time in going through all these 28 shlokas. So not one shloka will be missed. So don't miss it tomorrow. पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।